When you think of gaming, you're usually thinking PC gaming or console gaming. In the past few years, the casuality of mobile gaming has completely transformed, and you actually have a competitive space for even mobile gaming. With the advancement in their chipsets, their hardware being improved so much, the fact that you can have 144Hz refresh rate panels, higher touch sensing and all of that makes mobile gaming a lot more competitive and even comparable to consoles to a certain extent. With that being said, in this video we're taking a look at the Razer Kishi. These are pretty much universal controllers to transform your smartphone into a console. Let's get started. So like I said, it transforms your smartphone into a gaming console pretty much, both for Android and iOS. We've got both versions here right now. So we're going to be testing both of them out, finding out pros and cons on this. You can even use them as cloud-based gaming using something like the Xbox Game Pass or the PlayStation Remote Play. But we're going to be focusing more on the mobile-based gaming first to show you guys how well this is integrated with your smartphone. Getting started with the unboxing experience for both of them is almost identical. The iOS box is slightly longer because they've included an external additional padding for the smartphone. Inside the box you get the Razer Kishi itself, as well as the instruction manual and a sticker from Razer, because they always do that. The exterior of the box obviously tells you everything you have for it, ultra low latency, and it's very quick to connect. All of that stuff is all there. Also, the fact that you don't need to charge up the device is something that's super desirable. We're gonna get into that in a second, so that's why you don't really need any cables or additional parts with it. So you just get the Kishi itself and you're good to go. I obviously didn't read the manual, so the setup process is pretty straightforward, to be honest. This is how it comes. It comes all compressed and small. Very tiny form factor, as you guys can see. It's not very massive to begin with. I do like that. This can fit into your pocket, your backpack, wherever you go, carry it around. At the back, you have the Razer logo for this little plate. You have two little triggers right here, top and bottom. As soon as you pull them, this part comes out and boom, you're good to go. It's completely open. It stretches and expands. It's got a ribbon system, so it stretches and expands based on how big or small your smartphone is. And then you've got the connecting port for iOS with the lightning cable input, or for Type-C with the Type-C input. So it's very simple, straightforward. Slide in the side of the phone with the input first, and then the other side to the opposite end. It's got a rubberized grip on both sides, so it's not going to be scratching either the back of your phone or the display itself, which is very important. It was pretty soft to touch when you put it on the smartphone, so don't worry about any scratches when you do get it on. For the testing on the iOS side, I used the iPhone 12 mini. For the Android side, we use the Samsung S21 Ultra and the Xiaomi Mi 11. So setting it up is pretty straightforward. Here's the Mi 11, pretty simple process. You find the Type-C input, take the phone, align it up, snack it in, and then a light will turn on here, blue, showing you that it is connected in fact, and then you stretch it a little bit to get a tight seal, and there it is. That's pretty much it. Very straightforward, very quick process to set it up, and now you can pretty much just start your gaming process. And once you're done using it, snap off the side without the Type-C, snap off the side with the Type-C, align up the little things back there, snap it in place, and you're good to go. Same thing goes for the iOS side as well. Exact same mechanism. Pull the tabs, pull this back part out of the switch. You get this exposed completely fine. You have the lightning input right down there. Pretty straightforward. Just smack this in and then get it in. The iPhone 12 mini is kind of tiny, so you kind of have to just hope it doesn't fall out. But otherwise, pretty quick. And then you get red lights right here indicating that it is in fact connected. Get into a game and you're good to go. Let's talk about the build quality for the Kishi. They're very plasticky feeling, right? So when you get them, yeah, the controllers look very nice, but they are very plasticky. In fact, I would say the entire thing is made out of plastic. It does feel a little bit flimsy at times, especially when you do open it up at the back. You get this little flimsy open to it, very plasticky feeling. I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like it could be done a little bit better, but obviously I understand they've done that to maintain the weight, so it's not too heavy and it is in fact portable. So when it comes to the build quality itself, the thumb triggers, both the adapters, the analogs, feel pretty good. I do like how the analog feels. I think it's the best thing about the device itself. The R1 is okay. The R2 feels a little bit weird. You don't really have much of leeway there. There isn't a trigger feeling. It feels a little bit flimsy. Here's how it sounds. I feel like you can tell from the sound itself how it really feels. So I'm not a huge fan of the R2. The thing that I like the least about it is the buttons itself. They feel a little bit mushy. I don't have any feedback, tactile feedback sort of thing. The D-pad is probably the worst part of it, but the analogs are pretty great. And then you've got 3 other buttons. These were different for both versions, but they have the same functionality. They've just changed what they look like. So as I mentioned earlier, it operates on its own. It doesn't have a built-in battery or anything of the sort. You just rely on the smartphone's power to power this up. It doesn't consume too much power before you get worried that'll drain your phone. It doesn't really do that, but in case you want to play and charge your phone up at the same time, it does support pass-through charging. There's a sticker at the bottom that you peel off. For the Type-C version, you get the Type-C input, and then for the iOS devices, you get the Lightning input. So you can charge up your device and use it at the same time. So as I mentioned, there's no built-in battery, so there's no Bluetooth mode. It is purely connected to your smartphone directly, which means there's pretty much no latency when you're using it. So what you press is what you get on screen, and the inputs are very quick and responsive. Another part of the build quality is also the grills for the speaker. Razer was smart enough to cut out some grills so your sound isn't muffled when you connect it, because the port is usually where the bottom facing speaker is, so the sound comes out nice and even from the bottom side as well. Now let's get to the actual gaming part of it. For the mobile gaming, the native mobile game support, it worked really well. I tried it out both on iOS and Android. For the iOS device, I used Call of Duty Mobile. It had direct integration. I didn't have to connect controller, no setup process, just hooked it up and we were good to go. Within the game, it showed me different buttons, what they're linked up to, and I was able to play a game right off the bat. Had to adjust the sensitivity a little bit, but otherwise it feels really good. It's very responsive as well. Like I said, no latency. So as soon as I press down on the trigger, the action was carried out on screen. However, on the Android side, the Call of Duty mobile app wasn't really integrated with the controller, I guess. It didn't recognize the controller even when it was plugged in. I went into the settings to find the controller, but it was looking for a Bluetooth controller. So I'm not sure whether the developers haven't enabled that as of now, but on the S21 Ultra, I wasn't able to get that. But on both those devices, I was able to play Fortnite using this controller and it worked perfectly fine. On the Samsung device, I was able to get 60 FPS very simply. It did feel like I was playing on a PlayStation 4. Really great integration to the controller, very snappy, very responsive, low latency. I was able to remap some buttons as well. Weirdly enough, the top bottom button weren't working in Fortnite, but I was able to remap that a lot easier. So overall gaming experience for mobile games, pretty great. I'm pretty sure there are other games out there like Genshin Impact that a lot of people have been using, but if you guys want us to try that out, follow us on Instagram and we'll do that then. Now, one of the main selling factors of this is also the cloud-based gaming support, so you can play Xbox games or PlayStation games on your smartphone and have a controller support for that, which is absolutely mind-blowing. A couple of years ago, that would not be possible. So we're looking at things like the Game Pass from Xbox, as well as the Remote Play, the game sharing from PlayStation. Now let's take a look at some of the pros and cons on the Razer Kishi, both for Android and iOS. The build quality, I feel like the plasticiness to it obviously does give it that lighter feel, but it also gives that cheaper feel to it. I do feel like sometimes closing it up can be a little bit of an issue as well as like I mentioned, the buttons feel a little bit mushy at times, as well as the R2 triggers. But the analogs and overall the feel, the way they've designed it with keeping in mind different phone sizes and how it can be optimized for all different phones, the ribbon system, very smart and intelligent, and I do really like that they've thought of that pretty far ahead. As well as the pass-through charging works really well. You can charge it up your device just as you would if you connect it directly. So long hours of gaming, you won't really have an issue with that. The fact that the back is kind of open as well gives room for the phone to cool down over time, so it won't really heat up too much. And the speaker grip cutout, really great as well. That being said, the iOS device has 4 LED lights on the side while the Android version has 1. I don't get the difference. I don't even know why we have the LED lights, 4 of them. But overall, yeah, the build quality is okay, nothing crazy. But when you're looking at the performance of it, it works pretty well. The latency is pretty low and I'm very happy with that. So I would put that as a pro. A con that I found a little bit annoying on this is something like the S21 Ultra. It's slightly on the heavier side. It's a little bit of a thicker phone as well. So when you connect it to the Android version of the Kishi, let's say we grab it that way, you plug it in, nice secure fit on this side, pull, stretch, connect it again, nice fit on this side as well. You're okay, you're good to go. The second you exert even a little bit of pressure from the back, watch what happens, it just pops up. So every single time I was trying to grip it while I was playing, if I would grip it from this side and let go of this side, it would do that. So that was a little bit annoying. I feel like the seal wasn't as great as it could have been. That's something that can be improved in the next variant. Lastly, a huge pro obviously is the form factor and size. Like, this thing is tiny. I can toss it in a backpack, even fit it in my pocket without an issue. But overall, if you want to transform your smartphone into a gaming console sort of experience, this is the way to go. Probably the best external controller you can get with native support to iOS or Android. Great job from Razer on this. With that being said, that was our review of the Razer Kishi. We really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and do consider subscribing for more content just like this, and we'll see you again in the next video.